Welcome, this is Hobie 201. It's a graduate level course, so we've all assumed that you've managed your way through 101 and 102. And what inspired me to offer this course, and it's being offered actually for the first time, is that I've done a lot of, I've had a lot of coaching, I've been into a lot of seminars, and I began to realize after last summer that there's a lot that I'm doing that isn't being talked about. I think, and as I was going around a weather mark, I noticed Dan Borg was doing something that nobody had ever told me to do until about a year ago. And I've been sailing Hobies now for 30 some odd years, and no one ever told me this stuff. And if you don't know, you won't do it. So I decided to offer this up. Hopefully there's some great stuff in here that you can utilize. We're taping this. Hopefully that it'll go to the end. It's going to be a long tape, maybe, and we'll break it up. What I want you guys to try to do is just come away with one or two things today. And hopefully we'll have the tape that you can go back, and after you've matriculated those one or two things, you can watch the tape again, pick up another couple of items, and just keep doing that. And gradually build. You're not going to get it all in one sitting. So what we're not going to cover today is just sailing a Hobie. That's 101. That's going on next door. We're not going to talk about too much about the actual race course and what happens on the race course. That's in 102. In this course, I'm intending to take it to the next level. A lot of the intangibles, a lot of the stuff that, quite frankly, the little stuff. And what I've learned, I have some training in science, so you have to excuse me for that. But basically, if this is time and this is increments of knowledge, I guess I was thinking about this. It goes something like that. By that I mean, when you're early in your Hobie career, it doesn't take much to learn a big speed difference. In your first regatta or two, all of a sudden you learn how to tack or drive, and all of a sudden, it's magic. But after you've been sailing a few years, that's small. It might take you several years just to get a small little bit of advantage. And that's what we're going to talk about in 201. We're going to talk about how to accelerate this process so you don't have to take 32 years like some people did to find out, some of these things. I should back up and also say, I've never won a world championship. I've never won a national championship. I've been sailing Hobies for about 30 some odd years. And I've gotten a lot better over those years. And sometimes the best teachers aren't always the best sailors. Meaning, you talk to some of the top sailors, and I've done this. Well, how come? Why are you so fast? And, well, I don't know. I just kind of do what I do. And I've introspectively looked. And so this is what I'm offering up in a distilled format today. So we'll probably take a break mid-morning and then keep going. There's some bathrooms, I think, in the classroom next door in 101. Any questions so far? Okay. So I was reading a Sailing World article, and there was a gentleman in there in the back of the best parts are in the back, I think. A guy by the name of James Line, and I'll agree I don't know him, and I also agree that for a sailor, that's a great name. My name's James Line. This guy coached four world championships in 2016. The TP52, the FAR 40, the Melges 32, and a fourth one that I can't remember. Fairly competitive classes. A lot of money on the line. This guy coached 4 world championships. I thought he probably knows what he's talking about in here. And this is what he said. Everybody knows how to sail upwind and downwind. but it's the aggregation of thousands of tiny gains, which individually wouldn't make a difference in a race, that collectively make a huge difference. In one design sailing, the difference is more pronounced. If you're 0.1% faster than the competition, you're guaranteed to win 80% of the races. If you're even just 1% faster, it's game over. And that's what we're going to be talking about today, is those small little idiosyncrasies and nuances that can gain you that extra 1%, maybe even 0.1%. Now, I realize you may or may not be there yet in your sailing career, but hopefully with these notes, you'll be able to get there. That was profound when I read that, because I can remember 20 some odd years ago, and I'm taking shackles off my boat, and I didn't know why. I just knew that it was going to be lighter if I did, and I cut the tails off of excess line, and people would mock me and stuff like that, but I just kept doing it. And what I found was that I was winning the races, and that actually speaks more towards boat preparation, which we're going to get into here. Well, I guess we're into it now. That talks really into boat preparation, because in, I would say, 80% of the race is won before the boats hit the water. It's because of the preparation that's gone on, the tasking on the boat, getting rid of that little shackle. Going out and training with your partner is preparation. Just the nuances and not leaving anything undone. Spending the time. You've read the term time on the water. That is a big part. Training with my crew and I have trained countless hours out in Puget Sound. Let's do 20 tacks, all right? Let's do 20 jibes. And you know this too. John knows this. It's just, you just pound it in, and you get repetition over and over and over. And if you look at any high-level athlete, it's particularly pronounced in a golfer, it's being able to repeat the motion over and over again that separates it. So it's in the preparation. And the easy part is the boat. You can spend all the time in the world with your boat in the driveway and just going over it and looking at new ways to make it just a little bit faster. Put it on a diet. Look at lines. Is there any way I can reduce my tram placing? Instead of using that big old half-inch, whatever, use some high-tech line that's strong and light. Stuff like that, all right? It's also, though, it's mental preparation. It's having the confidence. And sometimes you have to fake it till you make it. But it's having the confidence to say, I belong here. Maybe you will or maybe you won't win that regatta, but you have to have the confidence that you belong on that starting line and on that course. And you have to, as a skipper, it's incumbent on the skipper to instill that confidence in the crew, and it's incumbent on the crew to build that skipper up and build that confidence within the skipper. It's a team effort. If the crew is tearing the skipper down, it's the worst thing that can possibly happen, because we all have our own questions, our own inadequacies, and things like that. And so you want, as a crew, you want to build that skipper. Man, that was great. Keep it positive. And ditto on the skipper to the crew. If you're a skipper and you're yelling at your crew, you won't be yelling for long. All right? That should be pretty obvious. All right? It doesn't work. All right? I tried it. It doesn't work. And so it's a positive thing. Yeah, stuff happens, man. It's critical components, and a team gets stronger by getting through those difficulties. I get that. All right? So I understand how yelling can occur. If it's a regular part of the diet, you're not gonna succeed, and that's in life or boating. Boating has a lot of parallels with life, as I've come to learn. You're going to want to when you're driving to. So there's preparation which you can do right now in advance of the next regatta. As you're driving to that regatta, or in the week coming up to it, start asking yourself, how big could I expect that fleet to be? Who's going to be the major players there? What kind of conditions am I expected to have? Recognizing, of course, that on that score, whatever you expect probably won't happen. But, that's a lighter regatta. I mean, how many times, I can't tell you how many times I've had somebody come up to me and say, well, which way should I go? And I'm like, well, hit someone. And get practice at sailing slow and controlling your boat. Pull up next to a buoy. There's no boats around it. And just learn how to park next to that buoy. And now you'll understand how you can park next to some other boats. And that will gain you confidence on the start line. It will help you be relaxed and be a better starter. To this day, especially at the bigger events, when I'm in that 5-minute sequence, I still take 2 huge deep breaths. I can't tell you how relaxing that is. I'll be at about 2 minutes, 2.5 minutes. You can look over at my boat, and there I am, inhaling and exhaling, because I just need to be relaxed. And you're getting all amped up, just take it down, all right? And different people have different ways of doing that. For me, I have found the deep breaths work. Have fun. Don't take this so seriously. I'm looking over here because I have a bunch. Learn to have fun, all right? Put that race, put that regatta in the context of your whole life. And I was out in Bear Lake at a North Americans, and I was sailing with my wife, who doesn't sail that much. We weren't doing well in the regatta. We were doing a lot worse than I expected. You go into these regattas expecting a certain level of performance, and I can tell you about 50% of the time you do better than you expected, about 50% you do worse. But anyhow, I had certain expectations, and we weren't meeting those expectations. But in this one race, we had pulled out the luck of the draw, and we rounded that weather mark in maybe 10th or 13th at a Nationals. It was like, wow, this is really good. This is about 20 years ago. Oh my God. And we're on this beam reach. And I'm just having a kick-ass time. I am just, and I'm sheeting on. My wife, who's not used to sailing, she's on the trampoline and she's going, we weren't married at the time, my future wife. And I was going to propose to her, or I did propose to her at that event. So she was my future wife, she was my fiancée at the time. And she's on the trampoline, she's going, make it stop! Make it stop! And there I am, I'm barreling along in Mach 5, and I've got to make a snap decision. Do I want to lose the race, or do I want to lose my wife? It didn't take me long, and I'm happily married to this day. And I'll tell you how we finished in that race. But you got to take care of your crew, but you also have to put this whole thing in perspective and make sure you have fun. All right. And I continue to learn after that day. And then you got to dance with who brung you, and that means that we all have bad days. So it's a team effort, and it's okay for the team member to have a bad day, and you don't yell at them because of it. And it's very enriching. Okay. Something else that we've done, my crew and I have done, Laura Sullivan's my crew, we've been sailing together, I don't know, long enough to know better, 15 years, right? We've done this, I don't know if we've done it every year, we did for several years in the beginning, and that is to list your 3 strengths and your 3 weaknesses. What are your 3 strengths and what are your 3 weaknesses? And this helps you to evaluate where the team is, okay? And you just write them down separately, be honest, and then share them. And then build a strategy around those weaknesses and strengths. Accept your crew's weaknesses and their strengths. It's easy to accept their strengths, accept their weaknesses too. Recognize we're not all perfect. I'm going to share with you my 3 strengths and weaknesses, so you get an idea of kind of the stuff that I'm talking about. My 3 strengths is, one is I love to start. I just love starts. I will sit there and I go on YouTube and I just love watching starts and my own starts and everything else. And it turns out that if you love to do something, you're probably going to be pretty good at it. And it turns out I'm a really good starter. I just have to figure out the rest of the race course. All right. And so there's a tip there that if you're not a good starter, it may be because you're scared or intimidated or you don't like it. And you just have to, and so you have to be introspective and learn why that is. I think I'm a pretty good tactician. All right? I think I can figure my way around the course pretty good. I make mistakes. We all do. But I think I'm definitely above average on that level. And I think I'm physically strong. I figure I'm stronger than most of the people out there. And I can use that to my advantage. And it's okay to admit those things. You know, I'm not trying to be pompous about it. I'm just, okay, this is what I can do. Because I also know that I got 3 weaknesses. As you probably have more than that, but I'm only going to list 3. One is that I'm an emotional person. And I have to learn to control those emotions on the race course. All right? And I've gotten better at it. Still working on it. Another one is I have poor eyesight. So I don't know where that weather mark is. It's up there and over there somewhere. I don't know. But it's over there. So I have to rely on my crew for that. And the other is that I don't follow my instincts nearly enough. I've been sailing for a long time. I think of myself as a good sailor instinctually, but sometimes I get distracted. I'm looking at the leeward hull. I got all these bad habits. But those are just some examples. Some of them are physical. There's one more area I want to talk about, and that talks about actually one of my weaknesses, the instinctual part. There's a couple ways to sail sailboats. And on big boats, as Johnny Hoag knows, you can sail by the instruments. Man, you just glued right into those instruments and you're just sailing totally by them. Or, as my papa used to say, you can just sail by the seat of your pants. Just kind of, oh yeah, I'm in the groove now, baby. All right? You really kind of need, the best approach, I think, personally, is a balance. It's a combination of those. Now, on a Hobie cat, we don't have B&G or Raymarine electronics. We are allowed now to have a tactic. But we don't have electronics. But we do have telltales. And if they're well placed, they're good. And we have other technical things that we can look at, how we're doing compared to other boats. And then there's just the gut feel, how things feel. On a Hobie cat, it tends to balance more towards the gut feel because there are fewer electronics, current, speed over ground, course over ground. We just don't have that on a Hobie, but we can use a lot of the technical signs out there. Another technical sign might be which way is the smoke blowing off of that chimney, or how fast. So there are other things that you can use. I learned a long time ago. There's a great guy. Laura hates him. I love him. His name is Stuart Walker. He's really difficult to read, and I absolutely love his writing. And Stuart, I think it was Stuart, has broken winning into 3 things. The first is boat speed. The second is crew work. And the third is tactics or strategy. And we're going to break these three down. And it actually, in terms of, in that sailing world, there was another article the following month issue. And it talked about, can we close that door by any chance? Thanks, Paul. And in that article, this guy was talking about, he's a world champion in the J24, actually sailed against the sun a couple of times. And what he likes to do with his crew, and we're adopting this on our team also, is to say, well, I wonder what kind of day is it going to be today? Well, what do you mean by that? Well, is it going to be high wind? Do we expect it to be low wind? Do we expect the wind to shift? Is there current? Let's talk about what kind of day is it going to be. And it's interesting because, I don't know, I'm taking a little bit of a detour here on my notes. I don't know if I want to go into this or not. I think I'll save it. I'm going to come back to that. But we're going to talk first about boat speed. This goes back to the preparation. 80-90% of your boat speed is done before you hit the water. There's only a few adjustments once you get on the water. Downhaul, outhaul, mass rotation maybe. It's all done by the time you hit the water. And really, if 90% of it is before you hit the water, then 87% of it is before you hit the beach. Right? So once you get on the water and you find out you're the slow boat, because I've been here and done this, you're not going to make your boat any faster. So stop getting frustrated over how slow you are and concentrate on what you can control, on what does matter. All right? And then vow to look up the people who are fast in that fleet to find out how you can make your boat faster for the next day or the next race or the next regatta. But while you're on the water, I can't tell you how many times, and you're sitting there, oh man, I sure am slow. Well, now there's a real fast thought. Instead of, all right, which way do I need to go? These guys are a lot faster, but I think the fastest way around the course is da-da-da. In boat speed, the devil is in the details. When you get to that part of the curve especially, it's all a matter. If I could put a theme to today's discussion class, is Hobie caddying is a game of inches. You might win or lose a race by boat lengths, but it's because there's a microcosm, a combination of inches of gain. Going back to that opening quote from what was his name? John Lyon, I think it was. Which everybody knows how to sell, but it's the aggregation of thousands of tiny gains, which individually wouldn't make a difference in a race, that collectively make a huge difference. If I can gain 2 or 3 inches on every puff or every lull, I can gain 2 or 3 boat lengths by the time I get to the weather mark. You understand what I mean? If I can get 2 or 3 inches out on you at the start line, it's game over. It is game over. Likewise, if you get a couple inches on me, well, I'm going to give you my run for it. It's a small aggregation. Last year, Laura and I had the opportunity to sail down to Guatemala, travel down to Guatemala and train with Jason Hess. Jason, at the time we did that, was ranked 3rd or 5th in the world in the Hobie 16. And he had a coach, Emiliano. And I'm down there training with Jason and Emiliano and some other sailors. And Emiliano said, Peter, or maybe it was Jason, get your crew 8 together. Always be together. And I cannot tell you what a difference that made. Here's your standard Hobie trampoline, all right? And I'll just, excuse my drawing. I can't tell you how many times I see crew trapped out like that. Or they're sailing downwind, the skipper's over here, and there's the crew down there on the leeward side. If this was, something like that. It doesn't work that way, you guys. There's yawing that goes on. And while you're there, while you're doing that, Laura and I are sailing right here. And we're balancing our way. Or we're trapped out right there. There's only one exception to this. Only one. And there's always exceptions, right? Only one. In 4 knots or less of speed, the crew downwind will need to go to the leeward hull to hold the gibbet. But that is the only time you are to be away from them. All other times you are together. If you watch some of the Olympic crews trapping out, they actually will have their legs intertwined, where the rear leg of the hull of the crew will be behind the front leg of the skipper. They get coached quite a bit, those Olympic athletes. What do you think is important? You think it's better that way or with your crew way out there? All right? It's not going to work. All right? It's really critical. And as a corollary to all this, when we're racing and we see a big hit the pin, we got a lucky start, hit the pin, got the pin, start, brand new boat. We had just glued it. I mean, this thing was, it was our first regatta. We had a competitor off our weather hip, and sure enough, there's this powerboat wake. And it was a big wake. I told the Lord, I said, look back at our competitor. Okay, watch this. And we went through the wake, and I'm not even sure we moved back, but I knew that my boat we had just glued it, it was stiff, and I knew that other boat wasn't. And we went through the wake, and when she looked back again, we were like, it wasn't just inches, guys, it was like 2 boat lengths. I mean, it was huge. Well, the same is true on crew. And so we might be sailing in a really light breeze, usually upwind. I'm not going to get too technical here, but usually if this is where the shrouds are and here's your mast, well, I guess actually going upwind in light breeze, if these are where your shrouds are and the mast. In salt water, I differentiate stuff between salt water and fresh water. Okay, hold on. Yeah, Laura.
This guy. We just had 5 more people show up for registration. I have to do it now. But how are we on sandwiches?
The important stuff.
So I differentiate between salt water and fresh water. And the reason is it's typically fresh water is flat. And typically salt water is usually an open body of water and it's lumpy. Okay. Now, you get out of Lake Washington on a weekend and you're in fresh water and it's lumpy. All right. But as a general rule, so in salt water, we are typically right next to each other and usually right at the shrouds. Because we want to reduce that pitching, that yawing. But sometimes if maybe we're far forward because we're sailing downwind, and as soon as that wake comes, we're always in this area when wake comes. Because that's where your center of gravity is on a boat. Anything you want to add in on this, John, so far?
No, I think your point's really good. I didn't race last weekend, so I got to watch a lot of the racing, and I saw a big discrepancy on crew. It's very obvious when you're off a boat watching races, seeing crews apart, and then seeing crews that are together. And it looks right when they're together, and it looks really weird when they're separated. And I noticed it last weekend. And the boats that were usually leading crews were close, all the way around.
It really is important. These are very weight sensitive boats. So, I didn't talk about this. These boats are also weight sensitive. So being at or near minimum weight's important. One thing I'm finding out though it's not just the crew weight, it's your gear weight. If it's a light air day, I am leaving my full harness on the beach now and going out with just a little butt bucket. I leave my 3-pound booties, and that doesn't include when they get wet. They're probably 5 pounds at that point. I don't wear those now unless it's blowing the oysters off the rocks. And then I need the protection. And then it really doesn't matter how much you take out there anyhow. It's about how much crew weight are you taking out there. Are you? I watched Jason S., who I referred to earlier. He had one water bottle that he was taking out on him, and he had built a special preparation. He had specially prepared a special place for that water bottle under his trampoline seat, so it wouldn't interfere with his sailing. Out the center of gravity. It's the details. It's those minor details that make that difference. Let's get into some rigging tips. This probably does cross over to 102 a little bit. Mast rate, we all talk about it. It's pretty important. We're finding, if you don't know what I'm talking about, see me afterwards, but on the Hobie 16, there's now been a fairly standard way of adopting a measurement system for measuring mast rate. We're finding that if you're at or near minimum mast rate, you want to be in the kind of the low 20s, typically. There might be times when you need to power that up and be in the upper teens, but generally speaking, we're running about 22, 23 mast rate. The Hobie 16, it's confounded me for all these decades, and there's only 3 strings to pull on the dang thing. It's like, how can this be? How can it be such a complicated boat when it's so simple? It's a lot of it's also got to do with rig tension. How much rig tension do you have? The jib halyard. It determines your rig tension. How much are you putting on there? Generally speaking, I say this with trepidation, a tighter rig will be better than a looser rig, but there's a lot of exceptions to that. But generally speaking, a tighter rig will transfer the lift from the sails to the hulls. Okay. But you can have it too tight, and now the boat feels what I call bound up, and it's slow. You can have it too loose, and it's just sloppy as heck. And what I have learned, as a general rule, that if it's light air, I can usually get by with fairly light rig tension, and if it's heavy air, I need that thing on boat and tight, and when it's medium air, it's somewhere in between. Does that make sense? I mean, the stronger the breeze, the more pressure there's going to be on it, so the more you need to really have the rig tighter. And the lighter the breeze, the more you want the boat to breathe and give it a chance to really absorb and move that energy. Do you agree with that, John?
The only thing I'd add is in big breeze, there's been times where if the boat's overpowered, I'll let a little of the jib halyard off. I'll free it up to give me a little more mast rate, which depowers the boat more.
Yes.
And that can be effective. And that's when it's blowing. That's
right. When it's blowing the oysters off the rocks,
yeah.
and you're out of control. You can that's great, because you can loosen that jib halyard. It blows off the top of your main, which is where most of that riding moment is. And so it'll take a lot of that riding moment away and just depower you. So it's a depowering technique. Again, after you're double trapped, and after you've been traveling down a couple of 3 inches, and it's white knuckle sailing, it's scary. Take a couple inches off that halyard. You maybe it's a little slower certain periods of time. You'll be a lot faster than the people that are flipped over that you're going past.
And then also just, if your boat doesn't, you made a great point, if your boat's not going well, something's off. And it's probably the jib halyard. You're right. And if you're in light medium conditions and the boat just doesn't seem like it's going and it's really tight, take half an inch off. Not 2 inches, just a little bit. It doesn't take much. And the boat will feel better. And the mast will rotate easier. There's a lot of things that happen in that, right?
And if your mast is what we call counter rotating, you sheet on and go to weather, and your mast is over rotating, you're way over. You've got way too much halyard on.
Or downhill.
Or down.
Yeah.
That's the down.
I can do it too. Yeah.
Because I was in Australia, and that's what it was. That's what I remember.
Yeah.
If you bring that down haul on super tight, then yeah, it'll counter.
Because a lot of the rake that Peter's talking about, that's extreme rake for a 16. And 10 years ago, we were never at 22 or 23. And if you don't know what that means, talk to us later. But it's marks on your halyard. But the downhaul, like Will and Josh last weekend, they came over and asked me, the mast was bent so bad. And I looked over and they had their downhaul cranked all the way down on the beach. I mean, all the way down the black band. And I commented, I said, why is this so tight? Because with the mast being raked so far back now, a lot of these 16s, you can't bring the boom all the way down the black band, or you don't even need sheet tension.
Right.
So we're sailing with wrinkles. You're leaving that downhaul loose, and the boat's doing just fine.
Yeah.
So just a little bit snug.
Yeah. And I don't know if we don't talk about it now, we'll talk about it right now. Generally speaking, my understanding is you only really need an inch and a half difference. You have one setting, and then when it blows the oysters off the rocks or the dogs off the chains, then you bring more downhaul on. In the really heavy, bringing more downhaul on depowers your rig. Just keep that in mind. You want to, in flat water, you don't need a lot of power. And in choppy water, you need a lot of power to get through that chop. And I liken it to an 18-wheeler. One that's heavily loaded and one that's just deadheaded and empty and going back for another load. And in flat water, you want to be that empty 18-wheeler. You don't need a lot of power. And that 18-wheeler will hit a top end. It'll go a lot faster than one that's fully loaded until, a certain point. And on a Hobie, trying to draw that analogy, and this is true if you have a heavy crew weight, you're like, a fully loaded 18-wheeler. You need that power to get through, but it will also carry you. So a light crew, they might get stopped by some power boat wake, and you'll be able to just carry that momentum through. But basically, in salt water, you want more power than you do and there's a lot of different ways to gain that power. You can do it in the sail plan with your batten tension, the downhaul, less downhaul, mast rake, less mast rake. There's different ways that you can achieve that extra. But for the most part, we don't change our just so you know, we don't change our mast rake whether we're in salt water or fresh water. So that's one that we don't change, but we will make other adjustments, and we may get into that in a little bit. Oh, we're going to get into it right now. Batten tension, for 25 years, I didn't change batten tension. Now, I make minor variations. You want to get really good at looking at your sail. And what I recommend is you stand at the base of your mast with your mainsail up, downhaul on, and just sheet your main in and out. When it's centered, and just look up and just see how that shape changes and get to know it. Let that become your best friend. And just see how that shape changes. And you'll get a better understanding of because that's your motor, man. That's your Ferrari to it. And get good at looking at it. Look at other people's. Look at people who are at the front of the fleet. Look at what they're on the beach. Look at their batten tension or their sail shape. Look at yours. Then look at other people's and become a pro at your sail shape. That's why sailmakers are usually asked to come on boats because they're pros at it. There's a reason. In really heavy air, I saw a guy out of Lewis, Delaware, Mark Moneman, about 2 years ago at a North Americans. They needed to do a videotape for a promo. And it wasn't blowing the oysters off the rocks. It was blowing the rocks off the rocks. It was nuking out there. And none of us were excited about it. But Mark and Rich McVeigh had already agreed to go out because Gary Johnson had a film crew there
So they went out. I mean, this thing, it was blowing 30. If it wasn't blowing, and these guys, I watched Mark Moderman. Well, he's from South Africa, and they don't go out unless it's at least 25. You know, I mean, it's just a lighter day if it's not blowing, you know, less than 20. And I watched Moderman set up his boat, and it was really telling. I mean, he was putting just the slightest amount of tension in, and it was just enough that he wouldn't rip his sails or whatever. He wanted the flattest sail possible. I took notes. I took copious notes. I don't have them here. I can tell you sometime if you sail in a place with like nukes like that. But the bottom line is that bad intention does make a difference. You want to set it up. I would recommend setting it up the same 99% of the time, 98% of the time. I make small variations. When it's nuking out there, I will lighten up the top 2 battens because there isn't much sail area up there anyhow. And that's the biggest riding moment because it's really far away and it's going to tip you over. So we will lighten up those top 2 battens a little lighter when we're expecting it to be double trapped, overpowered, double trapped and then some. Anything less than that, I usually set it up the same. Sometimes in salt water, I might squeeze it on just a skosh more. And I mean just a skosh. But otherwise, it's pretty much the same. And you want to get good at what that is, you can even mark them. I have and I do. This is a controversial one. This next topic. I talked about one of my strengths being strong. I personally don't believe that I do this because, and I can do this because I am strong. But this is, I don't cleat my main sheet at all, ever. All right, there's a few exceptions. Rarely do I ever upwind or downwind. And people say, "Oh, I can't hold it." You'll be surprised if you roll your 6-to-1 Harkin blocks up. At the bottom of your cam cleat, there is a bail, and when the line comes out of the block and goes over that bail is a sharp edge, and it's actually really good at taking the pressure off of a main sheet. And I don't even notice it. All right. What that allows me to do is to play the sheet constantly. It's a game of inches, you guys. In the low, I'm down a couple inches. On that puff, I'm squeezing it on a couple of inches. And just those minor variations, they're going to gain me 2 or 3 inches over people who aren't playing the main sheet upwind. Make sense? So, for me, it's fun. I love doing it. Now, I mean, if you don't want to, you can just clean it off and have fun and just go upwind, and that's cool. But I like seeing if I can max it out, and I just like those little variations and stuff like that. When we're trapped out, this is a good tip. Say it's double trapped, and now you're getting into an overpower situation. If you're not block to block, when you're double trapped, you have the boat rigged wrong, or you have an old boat. But anymore, we're block to block, double trapped. Key point there. Now, let's say you have to, and we will travel out. Well, we travel out more than we should. We should really only travel out once or twice on an upwind leg, but we do it on puffs now. But here's a training tip, that a little secret that I don't know if anybody else is doing or not. My crew holds the traveler, and I hold the main sheet. And when a puff hits, I'll say down 2. I don't say down. She doesn't know how much I want it down. I'll go down 2. It means down 2 inches. We worked out this communication system. Well, in the old days, she'd be sitting there and she'd be doing one of these, trying to uncleat the darn main traveler because it's fully loaded up. I've got my main sheet on and it's fully cleated. When I say down 2, I'm pulling on that main sheet. And what that does is it pulls the traveler up enough to unload the traveler cam cleat, so the crew can just go boop. And then I go down 2. I bring it on, and remember, it's block to block. And the traveler doesn't really move. We're centered, probably, or it's heavily loaded. But I'm taking the pressure off of it enough that she can go boop. And when I see her go boop like that, then I let down 2. Because I'm still block to block, and she's trying to let it out, and I'm holding it up. So I go, down 2, I pull, down 2, and then I pull again, so she can get that sheet down into the cleat again. It works great. It's really cool when you get it down. You feel like $1 million even if you aren't doing so well. The other thing is trapeze height. I want to talk about trap and axle. Most people are doing what I did for the first 10 or 20 years. And that is they're going out on the wire like a sack of potatoes. Clunk, and they just sit there. All right? And isn't it great? It is. Hobie cats are fantastic. Being out on the wire, there's nothing like it. But you want to be active and dynamic. When the lull hits, I call it scooch hiking, we come in. The puff hits, we're bonus hiking. We can't do that all the time. That's hard on the back. So I only have my crew do it at the start for the first 30 to 45 seconds and at the leeward gate if there's boats around. And then it's just leaning out. And it's not just leaning out, you're pulling the boat down. You got to pull on it, man. It's an active. It's not a passive deal. It's not something where you're just a sack of potatoes. That's a passive deal. It's an active pulling the boat down and keeping it flat. And then when that lull hits, you're constantly in and out. I watch YouTube videos all the time. YouTube, if you ever get bored, I don't have television, so sometimes I get bored. I YouTube medal races or sailing medal races or sailing World Cup. I just watch video. I do this stuff all the time, and it's great. And you watch these guys. And at the Olympic level, we're not all Olympians, I get that. These guys are moving just one leg at a time. These guys have been coached for 4 years, and they're just making small adjustments. Well, they can do that. Why can't we? So if you're into it, I highly recommend play with it, have fun with it. I'm playing with trying to kick the transom around right now on a puff to try to bring it in, and just kind of dance on it as you're going over waves. It's an act of fun. You're dancing with the boat. Be one with the boat. Be active in there. It's a lot of fun. It's a lot more fun than just sitting there. The other thing that you want to do when you're trapped out is I think I'm getting into this. Yeah. Wow. It's almost like I know what I want to talk about. Is you get into the posture. Posture is so keen. When you're trapped out, when I trap out now, I don't go out like this, like if I'm on port tack with the tiller in hand and my sheet in here. I don't go out like that. I go out like that. As soon as I get out, I rotate my hips, and now I'm pointed forward. This is an aggressive posture. This is passive. This is like, oh yeah, we're going to go out, and it's Sunday. We're going to go to church, and maybe when we're done, we'll drop by. When you rotate and face forward, this is like, I want that. I'm going after it, okay? And I'm leaning forward. My crew is right here, preferably below me so I can see. And what I do is I lean forward so I can look over her to see what's going on, all right? And now I've got this forward, aggressive, I want to win kind of posture, not this, hey, what's going on? All right? The same goes true downwind. Although I've adopted a sailing style now downwind where I've got my back to the course. I guess I can't say this, but I used to. And you want to be consciously presenting a fast approach to the course. The other thing is tiller grip. I'm a really good driver. I have no compunction saying it. I'm not the best. I get that. But I'm better than a lot of them. And the reason I am, I think, is because I have learned the importance of the grip on the tiller. And Johnny's a driver, and I'm sure you'll counter that. You'll support this. You want the lightest possible grip on the tiller that you can imagine. I was always amazed. I'm a Seattle Mariner fan. Edgar Martinez isn't yet, but will be, a Hall of Fame designated hitter. This guy, he had incredible eyesight. He studied pitches and all that. And this guy these pitchers would throw it away from him, and he would go down there and stroke it for a double or a home run or something. The guy was just incredible. It never failed to amaze me how many times the bat would fly out of Edgar's hands into the stands or into the dugout. It was incredible. And it's because Edgar had such a light grip and he was relaxed. All right. Now, in a heavy breeze, you have a firmer grip. All right. But you want to have as light as you can. And the reason you want it is devil's in the details. You want to feel what's going on over those rudders. The rudders are your brake. If you're going slow, it's because probably of the rudders. It could be in some other things. But in the water, and you want to feel what's happening. That's why we lift one rudder up. I'll give you another little tip here. We all sail downwind. Most of us sail downwind with one rudder up, right? It's not for the wetted surface area, you guys. I used to think it was for the wetted surface area. It's not the wetted surface area. It's so that you can load all of the steering onto one rudder and feel the water flowing over that one rudder. And now, instead of your rudder adjustments, if this is center line, if you have both rudders in the water, you might only make that much of a rudder adjustment, let's just say. And with both rudders in. And now with with only one rudder in there, you might have to go out that much to make that same adjustment. Well, anybody who's been sailing like that knows that's slow. The more you get your rudders off center line, the more you're breaking the boat. But here's the difference. Is after time, you will learn and feel the boat. And you will be making the adjustment a lot sooner. And now you'll be right back to there. And you've only got one rudder in the water breaking you and not two. Does that make sense? When you have two rudders in the water and they're offset by that much, it's like having one rudder this much. But now you have the opportunity to close that gap down to where you only have one rudder in the water and you're only making minor adjustments because you're anticipating, you're feeling, you're doing all this stuff. Does that make sense? Jump in anytime, John. The other thing that I talked about never cleating. Oh, going back to the never cleating. As soon as I went to the never cleating, I stopped pitch pulling. You're talking to the king of pitch pull right here. I invented it. All right. And maybe I didn't invent it, but I definitely perfected it. And the reason I was pitch pulling all the time, I'd be out there in 20 knots and being kind of, I was always living close to the edge. Oh boy, this is fun. And as soon as that puff would hit, I'd be sitting there trying to uncleat my main. And by the time I'm doing this, we're in. All right. As soon as I stopped cleaning my main, as soon as that puff hits, boom, I'm instantly sheeting off. And I can't tell you how many times it saved my bacon. And I don't pitch pull anymore. I did a Skamako once this past year, but that's because my main blocks were all messed up. But not cleaning your main will save you tons downwind. Because A, you won't pitch pull. That's pretty fast. Not pitch pull. And because now you can play your main downwind too. I didn't talk about that. Kind of coming at this. I play the main upwind and downwind. I remember Emiliano down in Argentina said, Peter, in some broken English, goes, play your main. What do you mean, Emiliano? I've been doing and telling others, you just lock off your main and sail to 90 degrees of pair and have your main set out. No. you play your main. And what Emiliano said in his broken Spanish, and I really don't understand it, but it sort of makes sense, is he says, no, man, you want to break the wind off of the sails. You want to break it and reattach the breeze that's going over the sails. And by adjusting the sails constantly, you can achieve that. And so now, what I do is I grab the main sheet from in medium air or lighter from behind the main blocks, because I can't do it through the blocks. And you'll see me. I got my butt up against the boom, which isn't fast because I'm looking back, and I'm bending around. And now I just do this all the time. You will see me constantly working that. Am I fast? I'm faster, and I'm getting better because I'm practicing it. When you do anything initially, it takes a little while to get used to it. Because the other thing that happens, you guys, let's say I'm sailing downwind and a puff hits, and let's say I am sailing downwind, and I've got my main is out here, wind's over here, 90 degrees apparent, and let's say I get a puff and I want to steer down here. All right? Well, what I do is I let out the main and I'm pulling on the tiller so that the boat will carve down. What happens is when I let out the main that much, I am unloading the rudders. If you know what I mean by loading and unloading, it means that the water doesn't have the same force on it, the speed. And so now my rudders, here's my rudders, but by unloading them, there's more of a turning moment and less of a braking moment. If that makes sense. If you don't know what I mean, I don't know if I can explain it. This is one of those things, well, I just do it. But it means that, it helps the boat turn without braking. So I will ease off, I'll just like that while I'm turning down, and then I bring it back on. And it's a game of inches. And I'm just gaining inches at a time. Okay?
I think what you're trying to say too is the boat will turn itself.
Yes.
Right? You don't have to
Yeah.
force the boat to go down. Ease in the main out, a little bit on the rudder, and the boat will steer down and fast instead of braking.
Excellent. Okay. And hopefully that's well said things. Ignore my mistake, something like that.
So Jerry is asking a good question. So he says, is that because the jib's loading more?
Yes.
Yeah. When the puff hits, the boat wants to do something. It either wants to shoot forward, down, or up. And that's all dependent on, one, how your sails are trimmed, and then second, where your rudders are. And what generally will happen, and what Peter was saying, is when the puff hits, the first thing that happens is the rudder will load up. Because on a 16, now on a 18 might be a little different because of the daggerboards, but the 16, the boat wants to do something. Generally, it wants to steer down, but you'll be fighting it, holding. So as that rudder loads up with force, the jib will get the wind. It'll hit the wind, and it'll want to pull the boat down if you let the main out. If the main stays in, then the main's going to want to counteract the jib. It's going to bring you up. So it's a balance. So what you probably do in that situation is you don't have the crew necessarily trim the jib out right away in the puff if the tailtails are reading correctly. Leave it in, but let the main out, and the boat will rotate down. It'll just turn itself.
Would that be the same on the roof?
Yeah, you're going to have daggers down when the daggers are up anyhow.
That's true.
And we're going to get into sailing. I hope we'll get into sailing with the sails during the starting sequence, because I've got a proven, really cakewalk starting method that uses the sails to help you start, and we'll get into that. But basically, yeah, Paul.
Just want to ask a question. You talked a lot about continually cleaning the mainsail, but what would you say about the crew who help you with it?
So it's a good question, Paul. So for anybody watching the tape, I got Johnny Hoag here, I got Paul Carter, and these guys I'm chasing them all around the pond up here in the Pacific Northwest, or out on the national race course all the time, and they're very accomplished. And so Paul is saying, asking, and I know Paul knows the answer, but he wants me to cover. What's the crew doing in that situation? And typically, what happens to us when we're dealing with a puff is actually, it's a delayed reaction. The puppet comes on and we allow our boat speed to build, but it's only a fraction of it because these boats build speed so quickly because they're so light. So usually it's almost an instantaneous thing. And then I just have my crew, she'll trim the sails, and usually she will also go out with them as the boat turns down. But initially, she might have to come in because as the boat builds speed, the apparent wind goes forward. Does that make sense? Because you're building speed, so the apparent wind goes forward, and that's why you're bearing off to come down. And so she'll, I don't know what she does, but I think she she'll come in and then let it back out. And I don't bring mine in so much on the puff because it's so instantaneous, and I'm usually just letting it out.
Upwind?
Oh, upwind, this was downwind. Upwind, usually the jib will stay locked. We will adjust, last weekend we were up on a lake sailing. It was very puffy. We adjusted the jib upwind. We adjusted that whole weekend 3 or 4 times the whole weekend, I think. We usually leave it pretty set and just sail to it. We're not adjusting. But the main, I'm constantly adjusting. And there was a good comment that John made Saturday night that I used Sunday to advantage, and that is, when in doubt, let it out. And this is not in the double trap heavy stuff. Well, maybe so if you're going to go over. But this was in light and medium air. And, the tendency is like, man, if I'm sheeting in and we're going fast, so if I sheet in a little bit more, it makes sense that I would go faster. Doesn't work that way, all right? And you have to have leech tails to tell you, and that's a whole different story.
Well, is that just because you're oversheeting and spilling through, you're just dumping the wind out?
Yes, exactly.
Okay, so.
Yeah. You want the boat to breathe, I think, a Werner. Let the boat breathe, but and there's a balance in there. Well, yeah, you want to loosen it up so she's goosed and she wants to just jump out and not so bound up. Something that I don't think is talked about much is, well, where do you look? You're out there, you're a skipper or crew. For time purposes, I'm probably going to focus on just the skipper for now. You're out there and you're racing. Well, where do you look? I mean, well, I can guarantee you this. If you got off the beach and you found out that you're the slow boat and you're spending your whole day looking at your telltales and how you can make your boat go faster, you're not going to go very fast, all right? The time to do all that, I would recommend spending 10, 15 minutes, speed testing, going out there, seeing where your boat is. Once you get your boat dialed in, it is what it is for that particular race or that particular day or those conditions, and you're just going to have to live with it. But I have a bad habit, and I look at my leeward hull. I think it's from all those times flipping. No, please, not again. It's just incredible. And we all have these bad habits. But what's going to happen is you want to look at the water. That's your primary area to look at. You want to look at waves. You want to steer. You're looking for flat water. Now, if I'm sailing on a lake and it's like today, there's probably not a lot to look at because it's flat out there on a lake today. So I'm saying that. I guess I'm saying that in salt water, in salt water, I'm looking at the water 60% of the time, maybe more than half, because I'm steering around it. And I used to think that you wanted to reduce your rudder movements because those are your brakes. In salt water especially, I'm watching these guys, these Olympic athletes on YouTube, and they are just moving their children wherever they need to. You're looking for whatever will get you around, and you're steering around those hills and those valleys, and you're looking for flat water, upwind or downwind. There's times when downwind you want the steeper waves because you can surf on them. But unless you can surf, if you can't surf, you're looking for flat water. Because the boat will go faster in flat water than it will doing one of these things. Right? But if it's doing one of these things, you probably have a pretty good chance downwind of surfing. But otherwise, so in saltwater, yeah, about 60% in the water, maybe 20% of the time I'm looking at the sails, and then 20% of the time I'm looking at where the competition is. Okay? But you don't want to be looking at your sails all the time. You get into a rhythm of just looking out at the water, and then when you see a flat spot coming, maybe you take a look at your sails, make sure they're good, keep steering, next flat spot. Well, what's Johnny doing over there? What's Paul doing over there? You know, and then back to steering through the water and stuff like that. Keep your legs together, keep your crew together. You know, you don't need to trap out like this, all right? It's very stable, but you really don't. They should be about shoulder width apart. And if Laura and I have not gotten to the point yet, but we want to get to a point where she's tucking a leg, her rear leg behind my front leg, but we're not there yet.
Peter, in Skamaka was a good example. Would you have a little bit wider stance in that type of weather where it's blowing really hard?
I might.
You
So
get a larger chop,
I might, a little bit of wave. I might go out and get a little bit out. Yeah.
so you don't have a tendency to feel like you're going to get thrown forward or backward or anything.
No, well, I do. If you watch my thrills, chills, and spills, I'm off the back end. So I do have that tendency. And so now what we're going to try to do in those situations is have Laura grab my life vest and hold on to the life vest. But that's going to be quite a bit for her because she's got the jib sheet to keep us from going back. But now she also has the traveler, so she'll probably end up having to drop that traveler and grab me.
Well, so she's got travel on right hand, Jim and left hand, so she's really stable. Does she end up catching you at all in heavy chop?
She bumps me. Yeah.
That's stopping you from.
No, she bumps me sometimes off the boat. That's why we're trying to get her to hold on. It's all her fault.
That's that skipper attitude thing, though.
Oh.
Nicer, she wouldn't be bumping you off.
Yeah. Well, and skipper attitude, I wouldn't be throwing her under the bus either way. But I'm teasing on that.
There's a lot of factors that play into that, and one is Jennifer and I do a lot of the leg locking in the big breeze. So she'll come back and she'll tuck her leg behind my forward leg, and then with the two of us kind of pushing against each other, you get some stability that way. But secondly, if your crew's getting knocked back into you, you need to raise their trapeze height, right? And that's probably something you're going to get into. But we learned that at North Americans this year in Mexico. The top fast guys had all raised their trapezes up, and we were out in the first race, and we were way down low, getting knocked off the boat constantly. You know, and I looked at some of the top guys, and instantly we picked that up, that they're all lifting up. And they had all put double clips on their trapeze. We tried to raise ours, we slid right back down to the original spot over and over. So you may be getting into that, but that's something that if your crew's getting knocked back into the skipper, they're probably too low.
And I wasn't going to get into it because I passed over it and I intended to. Trapeze height, right. What John just mentioned. But also, we will raise our trapeze height when we think it's going to be a light air day. Because we don't need all that leverage, but we might be able to trap out when others can't. And that has its own advantages too. So the trapeze height is not something that is just a static deal either.
And that's way
Is that easy to adjust on the fly?
No.
Is there a
You have to do it between races.
Well, there is an adjustable trap.
I don't know if it's class legal.
I don't know if it's class legal.
I don't think it's
On the
class
F-18s we do it, but I don't know if I've never done it on a 16.
No.
Okay.
Or an 18. This is all under boat speed while you're sailing or once you get out there. You want to evaluate what kind of day it is. You thought on the beach it was going to be this kind of a day. Is it? Do you have to make adjustments to what you thought? Talk to your crew about it. start looking at, are the puffs starboard lifts or headers? Typically in the northern hemisphere, a puff will veer to the right, typically. But locale being what it is, don't take that as a gospel, all right? So you want to look, is it a lift or is it a header? How big are the lifts? Is there any timing to those lifts? Because that might be important at the start, you know? Well, they're coming in every 2 or 3 minutes, you know, and stuff like that. So you want to, if you can, find a sailing buddy, find somebody that's pretty comparable to you, and maybe go out in different ways. We did this in Puerto Penasco with Tommy K, with Coors, and you just go out there one day and you come back, well, which side was favored, that sort of thing. But you can also just do speed testing, you know, and make adjustments. Be creative, try things. Something that we have learned also is that in a big breeze, with a medium to heavy breeze, with a big chop, we will loosen our jib, and the bows do not dig in nearly as much. The boat floats over instead of getting pounded in there. Laura picked that one up in Fiji, and a huge benefit. So if you find your boat just constantly hitting those waves, loosen the jib off. Doesn't take much, inch and a half. And if you think that I'm kind of crazy, Jerry has footage of Kike Figueroa having his crew doing the same thing on the starboard ley line. But I think he was doing that. He had her doing that. It wasn't Carl, it was someone else crewing for him. I think she was actually doing it to unload. Laura will do this too. Before we get into the mark, a lot of times she will pop the cleat and then re-cleat it. Because what happens is the cleat just gets bound and bound and bound and bound. And then when it's time to go around the mark, there's high wind, your apparent wind goes up, the wind speed goes up, being shown on the jib, and now it gets loaded up even more, and the crew's over there can't get it out, and the bows are doing one of these, the pucker factor's going up, you know? And so she will, when she feels like we've been on starboard ley line for a long time, she'll uncleat that jib and re-cleat it just to reset the cam, so she knows she'll be able to release it when she goes around the mark. See, I'm giving away all these secrets. It's just not fair. I talked about body language being aggressive. Crew work. Oh, you guys want to take a break? All right, we're going to keep going. You had your chance. So I want to talk about crew work. And I might talk about, I think I will, right now. So, the reason that the guy who's the J24 multi-national champion in J24 from New York.
Ken Reed.
Huh?
Ken Reed.
No, it's another guy. But anyhow, he was asking, well, what kind of day is it going to be? And it turns out that in light air, boat speed is everything. You want pressure. Angle means nothing because 10 minutes later you're going to get headed or lifted, so it really doesn't matter. You want to go for the pressure on a light air day, and it's all about the boat speed. You're going to probably want, because there's a boat speed and because the Hobies don't have a lot of boat speed in tacking, you're probably going to want to play the corners a lot more in light air. But you might tack on headers and stuff like that too. Typically, you only tack 2 or 3 times on an upwind. I've been known in light air to tack 5, 6 times if the conditions allow it. In medium air, you're gonna want to pay particular attention to angle. Not really crew work, but is you're going to want to look at those puffs and maybe the shifts and look at it. This medium air is where you're up to boat speed. I mean, you're going as fast as the boat's going to go under those conditions. You're under control. And you really don't need any more pressure. The boat's already at the boat speed. So you're not really looking for boat pressure. But, so now you're looking for maybe some headers or current relief or particularly maybe a geographical lift or a header that you can play. Skamakwa is famous for this. It's a left ship because we want to get out of the current. We want to get into flat water. Even if it's positive current, we still want the flat water. That's how important flat water is usually. Although sometimes like this. But anyway, none of this is 100% of the time, right? In the heavy air, in the heavy air, it's all about crew. It's all about reducing your maneuvers and just playing the corners. Because while you're tacking, the fleet is traveling at the rate of 3 to 5 boat lengths while you're in the middle of the tack. So in the heavy air, and there's more opportunity for something bad to go wrong during a maneuver. So you want to plan your maneuvers and say, okay, we're going to go up to the starboard ley line. It's in 30 seconds, and we're going to tack or whatever. I already talked about this, upwind, hiking. We're constantly adjusting position in medium breeze. We're constantly doing, we're ooching in, one's coming in off the wire. It's a very active and dynamic activity. I talked about quite a bit of this stuff, so that's good. I have something that happens to me, and I don't know if you have this. It happened on the 5th day of the Alameda North Americans. After 17 races, I finally got this feeling. We were traveling upwind, and I had a feeling like my boat was actually crabby to weather. It was just a feeling. This is one of those things I can't put a feel on it, but it was awesome. I had Adam Borgelin right behind me, and by the time we got to the weather mark, I was 3 boat lengths ahead of Adam, and I hadn't done anything except feel the boat. And it was actually crabby to weather, and I don't know how I did it. But I felt that again and again, not all the time, but that is a difference. It's sailing intuitively where you can get a feel, and that comes from just time on the water. Have you ever felt that? Is it a personal thing or?
Yeah, I was just trying to think of what did you do that made it do that? What were you doing?
It was the driving, and the boat was really flat in the water. The wave, there was only maybe waves of maybe 1 to 2 feet. It wasn't very big waves. There was waves, salt water. It was in the Alameda estuary, but 1 to 2 feet. It wasn't anything big. And we were really flat, really flat. We did not have a hole in the water, I don't think. Or if it was just barely in. And then from that point on, it was just this feeling and this drive. And we just kept going to weather. It was just an amazing feeling. And so maybe it's the flatness. Maybe it's the hole.
I think it's that if you can keep that weather hole out of the water just right, and the crew position's just right, you don't move, and the boat's just surfing upwind.
I think, yeah.
Then you get that feeling that you're going upwind instead of just forward.
And y'all know, that's what you want. You want the weather hole just slapping the wave tops instead.
And that takes time on driving, doesn't it?
It really does.
That just doesn't happen.
No, especially in puffy wind.
Yeah.
Just to let you know, we ran out of battery.
Do we have any more battery?
Right now. Grant, do you have a light on? Does it go off? Like the flashlight on the phone?
I just,
That's going to burn your battery down.
yeah, mine's like at 30%, so let's see. I'm not sure. I'd turn
If you can
that
get this last part, Grant, then maybe we can stitch them together.
on.
I haven't used my phone yet.
My camera records in 20-minute sections anyway, so
We got 3 phones, maybe we can knock it out.
it's going to be broken up.
Yeah. Well, we'll just have to stitch it. That's good.
I'm
Thanks,
not sure
Gil.
why my light's on.
In terms of so upwind, the crew and the skipper are working together. They're always together. they're trapping in and out. On our boat, after the years that we've sailed together, we really don't talk about it that much. Now it's more just kind of second nature. Downwind, there's got to be a discussion going on downwind. If the crew feels pressure, he or she will tell me, I'm feeling pressure. Well, that's good. Maybe I didn't feel that pressure. Usually, though I have, by the time she's got it.
Pressure on what?
On the sails. She might be feeling something there. Hey, I'm feeling some pressure. Any kind of feedback is always a help. If the crew can give any kind of feedback, it's always a help.
So where you use that Todd is say downwind here, right?
Yeah.
So crews holding the jib a lot of times, or they're not cleated sailing downwind.
Right.
And when they feel a puff, like you were just saying, they might say, pressure, puff on, something. And you'll instinctively, as a driver, say, well, let's take that deeper, right? The whole key to going downwind is sailing lower than your competitor. Lower at same speed or lower and faster. So if your crew says, I've got good pressure in the jib, like we talked about, let the main out a little bit, let the boat go down, and a little bit of pressure. And that's going to be gain forward for you. Instead of just sailing straight. That's the kind of feedback you need.
Yeah.
Because you're not looking at something on the beach, or even the mark. You might want to steer below the mark, right, in a puff. Because you know that puff's going to go away. And then you're going to have to turn the boat back upwind a little bit to get a little more speed again. Now you're above the ley line, and then you're below the ley line. You're never just steering straight at that without some sense. And that's so important.
Yeah, you know, if you're sailing to the leeward mark down here and you're over here, you don't want to just be steering like that. The sailing is sailing like a drunken sailor, and that's because you're doing one of these. Because you're coming up in the lulls and down in the puffs, up in the lulls, down in the puffs, and it all works out neatly. So,
That's that gain of inches.
yeah, that's that gain of inches. In terms of our crew weight, in light air, downwind, the crew will, if she has to, she'll hold the jib out. But anytime the jib will hold out by itself, except on the 18. Oh, Jerry's not here. On the 18, we actually are changing traveler position or lead position. But on the 16, anytime that the wind will hold the sail out, we let that happen. In medium air, we're in the middle of the boat. So here's shrouds. And Jerry, you were going when I said in light air, sailing downwind crew work. Laura is actually changing the lead position on the jib sheet in lighter air and pulling the sheet forward a little bit to pull that leech down and lock that leech in a little bit. But otherwise, so in light air, I'll be honest with you. I am sitting now right here because that's the most stable position on the boat. Not because I'm afraid of falling out, but because of wave action. In light air, the crew will be out here holding that jib out. But as soon as there's about from 5 knots and above, the crew is now moving into here. And now we are together. I'm usually sitting on the boom now, and she's right below me. And then as the wind strengthens, we will start moving in this direction. And then when it's blowing the voices off the rocks, I usually throw my tiller off the back end, downwind, to get it out of the way. I got a hold of the tiller crossbar here, and I'm right back here. She's right in front of me, and usually we're locked in the straps a little bit. And as soon as that puppy hits, she's blowing her sheet, and I'm dumping my main. And I can dump my main because I'm not cleated. I am sitting here now. It's very inconvenient. It's actually a little tiring too to be sitting on a boom right here. This is the mast. I'm sitting right here and I'm looking around. From a posture perspective, it's a little it's a little tiring on my body a little bit. I used to sit here and kick my foot against the mast. I heard Johnny up last week. You used the downhaul, just get a toe in that downhaul. What is totally undervalued is the lift that is gained off a Hobie mast. Hobie makes their mast like that, and there's a reason. And if you ever have correlated that to how it might look against, say, maybe an airplane wing, there's a lot of lift that comes off of that. In addition to that, though, if you don't rotate it enough, so let me see if I can do this. And if I don't know, I'm going to make an example. I'm doing a lousy job of this. But let's just say, what happens is the wind comes in here, it hits that, it circles around, and then, okay. And then this is providing zero. This is everything. And then, but you just missed. You're only using this much of the sail or whatever, all right? It's turbulent versus laminar flow. When you present this, you get all of this is laminar flow. And now you gain this much sail area, if you will. And you gain a few more inches. The rotation of the mast downwind, no, not going to, but you don't have any choice of it. The rotation of the mast downwind, if you want to gain inches, is really critical.
It was so critical in the F-18 fleet, everybody put positive or rotators on to hold that out going downwind. That's how important it is. And that's adding weight to your boat to do it. But it
was worth it.
So, yeah.
Helps to rotate the mast even more.
It's maximum out you can get, yeah.
No,
That's what
Hobie
Peter said,
18
it's exactly right. You just gained 4 or 5 inches of sail area.
Yeah.
Well, it's all about keeping the Hobies with rotation bars, with positive rotators. When you're going downwind, you can force that mass down.
And on the Hobie 18, it's class legal to install positive mast rotation, and I have. And for the obvious reason.
Oh, yeah, I would do it. Yeah. I believe too that it does something to the main sail shape. It
Yes.
powers it up.
Yes.
Because when that boom is just coming straight back, the main on 16 has to bend around and like Peter was drawing. Where if that mast is rotated with the sail, I think that powers that sail up. It makes
It really
it
does.
deeper. Just a little bit. It's not a lot, but it makes a big difference.
And on an 18, it's just a little bit of bungee and a block.
It's just, definitely if you have an
If
18.
you think about taller mass,
So we talked about crew work. We talked about boat rigging. We talked about crew work. In the last little bit, I want to talk about our tactics and strategy. We may go out to the boat and take a look at a 16, and we'll just see where we are with that. How am I doing on time? Yeah, we're doing great on time. Boy, cool. All right. Tactics and strategy. What's the difference? I'm not sure I have this right, so correct me if I'm wrong. I'm going to call you guys the peanut gallery. These guys are keeping me in check, making sure I get it right. And so the tactics are what's going on around you and your position in the race, and your position in relation to other competitors. Whereas the strategy on a Hobie catalysis, what do you need to do? Which direction are we going to go? What's our position in the standings? And what's going to be our overall strategy? To give you an idea, Sunday at this last regatta, Laura and I went out on Sunday, and second place was only about 2 points from us, and third place was only about 4 points off. So my strategy of that first race was to get a really good aggressive start and put those competitors away. In other words, bank it, put it out of shape. I didn't want them to get a foothold in on that, and that's what we did. The last race of the day, my strategy was don't be over early. So I was about two seconds late, maybe 3, on the start. It's like I don't need to have a great race. I just don't need to blow it completely. All right. Tactics, on the other hand, might be, well, I did have tactics where I was going to drive the second place boat deep into the fleet because she had a worse throughout the night, and it became 2 points out of it. So that's a tactical consideration. And so you want to look at your position in the regatta and also your position in the race as well, and your competitors. You also want to evaluate if it's early or late in the regatta or the race. You can't win. It's commonly said you can't win a regatta on the first race, but you can sure lose one. You know, you want to your port tack, and all right, I'm going to go for it. And now all of a sudden, you know, you got a DSQ, and it's the first race of the friggin' regatta. You know, so you got to evaluate where you are in the regatta and in the race too. If it's early in the regatta and you're let's just for this purpose of this, it's a port starboard. If it's early in the regatta and boy, you can just barely get across that guy, but it's going to be close. It might just be worth making a 2-boat duck if it's early in the regatta. If it's that close where you're, duck. If it's the last or second to last race, and you need to beat that guy or you need that point, you might be willing to take that risk. It's risk reward. You gotta Hobie cats sail real fast. They require quick decisions, and you need to be able to evaluate real quick your risk and reward ratio. And that means totaling points and having a constant awareness of where you are in that regatta and where your competitors are, and maybe not all of them, but some of the close ones, and what you need to do and stuff like that. And now, and that will change the whole thing. But early in the regatta, you want to sail very conservatively, and all you want to do on Saturday is just be in the top 3 or 4, if in a big fleet, the top 5 or 10. That's all you want to do that first. Then on Sunday, now you can pick off who the people are. Now it's boat for boat race. And this is all Stuart Walker stuff. And so, so on Sunday, I knew who my competitors were. They were 2 off and they were 4 off. I knew who I had to look after, and I kept a close eye on them. And I stayed in their water. Whichever way they went, I remember my crew one time said, well, that's looking pretty good. I go, well, it might be looking pretty good, but these guys are going this way, so I'm going this way. And it also talks about, I talked about this a little bit, about being aggressive at the start. You always want to be aggressive at the start, but sometimes more so than others, just depending on who you're around and stuff like that. On the starts, one strategy is to find somebody that you're faster than and line up with them to lure you. And that way, maybe you can drive over them and create that hole to lure. But something you have to be careful of, another strategy, is you have to be careful of what, Jason, who's the guy who's the world champion in the Hobie 16 right now, from Australia. I'm sorry. Anyhow, there's cowboys and tourists on the starting line. The cowboys are the guys that they don't care about winning the start just as long as they beat you. These are the guys that'll take you up and hold you head to wind for 15 seconds after the start while the fleet is sailing off. And you're like, really? Or whatever. The tourists are the people that accidentally go head to wind 10 seconds before the start because they just don't know how to control their boat. So you want, really some of the best starting is done next to an accomplished skipper. Somebody who you know will get off the line in an organized fashion. I did the North Americans in Ventura, California back, Laura and I did several years ago. It was an up and down regatta. We scored 2 second places in those races. There was going to be a silver and gold fleet. They were going to do a split because the factory was supplying boats. And this was still in the round robin, I think it was. And we scored 2 seconds, which you would think, I mean, there's, 60, 70 teams. You'd think, that's pretty good. I think we qualified. We were the last qualifier into the gold front. I mean, it was just up and down. And I remember, Lord and I, we were having another one of those 30-something finishes. And we come around the weather mark, and I hear these 2 other boats, and they're yakking it up. And they're talking it up. And something about family heritage, and I don't know what else. And I said to Laura, because we had been up near the front, right? We had those 2 seconds. And I said to Laura, I said, oh, it is ugly back here in the bus. I want to be back up at the front. Because at the front, it's all organized. All right, you got first, I got second, and you got third. So let's just organize this, and we'll all go to the finish line with our keeper. And then we'll talk about it next race, how we're going to do. You know what I'm saying? And in the back of the fleet, man, these guys are just yakking it up, and they're duking it out for 35th place. And they're sailing each other off to the edges of the ocean over this, and it was just comical. So, you want to have, generally speaking, be aggressive on the start line, and generally speaking, you want to have fairly conservative mark roundings. By that I mean give the buoy its distance. Hitting it is not going to help you. This is really big. You want to be thinking a half a leg ahead, at least. All right? You got to be planning what's going on. I used to sail, ski the moguls, the bumps. And when you're skiing the bumps, and probably in skiing in general, the closer you look to where you're skiing, the more crashes you're going to have. The key to successful skiing, I keep looking over these guys because these guys love to ski, is how much further down the hill you can look. And in the bumps, I found that if I could look 3 or 4 bumps ahead, that I could ski a lot better than if I was just looking at what was coming up right in front of me. Well, the same is true in sailing. You want to be looking a half a leg ahead of you and planning what's going on. And I will do this. I do tactics on large boats, and I will tell the skipper, all right, we're going to round behind 918 and in front of 432. And I immediately set that up. Doesn't mean it's going to happen, but it gets him thinking about what's going to happen. All right? And the same is true. I will do the same for my Hobie crew. I say, we will round behind Johnny and in front of Paul. Hopefully. All right? And so, or no, excuse me, in front of Paul.
That was great.
In front of Paul or behind Paul, I mean. And so what happens is Paul gets this huge puff and launches in front of Johnny and I. Things change, but at least we're set up on what's going to happen, how it's going to go down. It's a lot better than going in silent with a big, we're going to make this a big secret. All right. And the other thing that you can do is when you go into a gate or whatever, you can say, Grant, are you going right or left? Now, this is especially true if you're at the top of the fleet, because everyone's organized and wants to cooperate and work. If you're at the back of the fleet, the guy's just going to give you the stink eye, and say, well, I'm going to beat your ass. But you start saying, which way are you going? And John is really good at this, and I'm trying to learn from him on this, is it's not a big secret. Shh, we're going to fake this guy out. All right? You're thinking a half a boat length ahead. Make the better rounding. Get up on his weather hip, and see if you can work out on him, and maybe halfway or 3/4 up that way the leg, you'll be able to beat him. All right? So it's not about, I spy kind of stuff. And if you can be more organized in that regard, you're going to have fewer issues around it. Yeah, so that's just avoiding the big starts. Okay. I'm getting pretty close. I'm on the last page. I want to talk about starts. On a scale of 1 to 10, how important would you say starts are in Hobie One Design racing? Huh? 10. I think that pretty much sums it up. Even if you don't, I've had some successes, and I can tell you, it ain't because of the sailing necessarily. We rely real heavily on the starts. I'm a pretty good sailor. I'm an awesome starter. And I rely heavily on that. And I'm hoping the rest of my sailing will catch up to my racing. My starting. So, in the pre-start, don't just sit around, you guys. Collect information. I'm not going to go through it. You've heard it before. Find which end of the line is favored. Talk to your crew which side you want to play. Do you want the right side or the left side? What kind of a day is it? What do we expect? Are we going to get a puff? Is there going to be a puff or a wind shift that comes down in the last 5 minutes before the start? Or is it a pretty steady breeze? So collect information before the start. Don't just hang. Okay? Get in the starting area and and go through a routine until you get good. I don't do the routines quite so much anymore. But for 3 years, I still do it when I'm not feeling confident. For 3 years, I would sail. The 17s would start in front of us, rolling starts. I would follow the 17s so I wouldn't mess their start up on starboard tack. I would go out for 1 minute until I heard the 4-minute gun go off. I'd check it. I would tack. I would come over to the starboard extension of the ley line, and at 2.5 minutes, and I still do this to this day a lot of times, I would jibe at 2.5 minutes. And what I found was, I got really good at starting. Is what I found. Because I kept doing the same thing. And pretty soon I found out, I'm late, and I could speed it up. Or, I'm early, I better slow it down. By doing the same thing in light air, medium air, and heavy air, I learned and I was able to adapt. And it got to be what I think is a pretty good start. Plan your start and your first leg before the start, and commit to it 2 minutes before the start. A wind shift could hit. Within 2 minutes, you got to be on the line or should be close to it. And you should have already decided you have to be down at the pin, you have to be up in the committee, or whatever. All right, so I think we're going to go out, not right yet, but we're going to go out there. I can't remember, I think it was Jason. No, it was Robbie Daniel. And Robbie taught me how to start. That is so slick and it is so easy. And I was really good with the timing, and now it's just not fair because now I've got the boat handling down too. And it's really on a Hobie 16. It takes practice. You're not going to get it the first time, but it is so easy. So there is a thing you can do out there where you can sail by your sails. You guys have heard that? You don't need rudders to sail by yourself. And basically, what happens is, and here's your main, and here's your jib. And if you want to head up, then you sail on the mainsail. And if you want to head down, you sail on the jib. That's my one. Yeah. I know. You can't have that. Yep. Thanks. And so, do y'all understand that? Okay? If you don't understand that, just nod your head anyhow. All right. if I want to head up, I'm going to sail on the main, and if I want to head down, I'm going to sail on the jib. Okay? It's pretty easy on the jib.
This is on the start line. You're close hauled, so the jib, the boat's stalled right now, right? That's what you're talking about.
So, just on a general level, that's what I'm talking about. So now we're on the start line. Let's fast forward, and here's the start line. And here's, those are little ruddies sticking out. Okay? Wind's coming down this way, as it always does. So it's coming down from the sky. What you do is you set your sails up for the downwind setting. The main is out this way. And I say that I never clean my main. I do before the start.
We should check.
What's happening is I don't think everybody else is. They're uncleaning their main before the start, and then they're cleaning it the rest of the race. I'm doing the exact opposite. You have it in the downwind setting, and the main blocks are about that far down. Okay, and I just clean them. And the reason is because and I'm playing my travel. That's all I'm playing. The traveler is 2-to-1. The main blocks are 6-to-1. I can react way faster than anybody else out there because of this. Because I'm on 2-to-1 and not 6-to-1. All right? And so what happens is, well, I put this too close to the line. Let's say this is the line. So in any case, my crew, I don't know about your crew, my crew gives me time. How many people have their crew give time? How many people have the crew giving them distance? Yeah. Oh, look at those guys. They get good starts. All right. It's time and distance, right? It's time and distance. Now, okay, well, is it this distance or is it this distance? Honestly, I can't really remember, but I'm pretty sure it's that distance. And so it's how many boat lengths. So Laura will say 12 seconds, boat length and a half. Something like that. So time and distance. Big key if you want to be a good start. Because you got to know. And then you just build up a database. Well, I was too early on that one, and I was too late on that one. And so I've got in my head, in a medium breeze, so 8 to 10 knots. It takes me about 8 seconds to power up and go a boat length. But usually in a medium breeze, I'm shooting on at about 8 seconds. That's from being out in Puget Sound. And Laura and I, we used to train, and every time we trained, every training session at the end, we spend probably about 15, 20 minutes in 1 or 2 minute increments doing starts. So we're back to this now. The downwind, you clean the main off, and you just leave it. And you grab hold of the main travel. Now, if I'm early, I usually will want to come up to slow the boat down. What am I going to do? You guys aren't allowed to say. What am I going to do? Huh?
Pull the main.
Pull the main. Travel that main up. And the boat will just rotate right up. Okay. Well, yeah, but what if it goes head to wind? It might early on until you figure it out, but it probably won't. Because remember, you're not sheeted on. You're on. I mean, I guess you could try to get it. And you might try to see if you can, what it takes to get it to go over. It never goes over for me. But you're off the breeze. Your boom. So if this is the main point of it, your boom never gets any closer than that point. So the closest you're going to get, probably, if that's the wind, is maybe right about there. You just can't get up there because the main isn't up that close. Does that make sense?
What's the crew doing with the jib at that point?
We don't want it. So they're jib off. On my boat, everybody has their own vernacular. On my boat, I only have 3 settings on the jib before the start: on, off, and soft set. And on means I want trim for speed. Just trim for speed, whatever it is. Off, let that sucker out, and I don't want any speed. A soft set means I need to just blow my bow down, but I really don't want to go forward. So I just want to get some wind against it.
On an 18, would you be furled at that point?
No, Ken, no, we're out. On an 18, with the daggers, I was doing this, I was doing that this weekend. I actually had even better control because of those daggers. But, so then, and now I start to see these guys and they're creeping up. So, I just want to be kind of bow out or right up with them. So now so I either want to speed up, slow down, head up, or head down, right? I'm just going to control my position. So let's talk about that. So I want to speed up, down, head, up, or down. Those are pretty much the four conditions. And they can be in combination, we'll talk about it. If I need to speed up, well, that's easy enough. We're just going to sheet in and get it going. If I need to speed down, if I need to slow down, I might start wiggling those runners. The other option would be to head up. There's another way to slow down. All right? Maybe head up and wiggle the runners. All right? To head down, what am I going to do? If I'm just slack and I want to head down, what am I going to do?
Take the main off, bring the jib on.
Jib on, main on. And now that brings the bows down. As soon as the bows catch a little bit of breeze, I start getting a little bit of flow over the rudders. I might bring the main on, depending on how much of a hurry I'm in, and I come down because we're scalloping, right? We're doing that sometimes too to protect our position. But realistically, at the North Americans, you want to be on the line with probably about 1.5 minutes. And then the world's probably with about 2.5 minutes. So you gotta have to learn how to sail slow. To win in Hobie catch, you have to sail slow. You have to be really good at sailing slow. It sounds weird. So then if I want to and so then what I do is I just have my crew. I say if I want to head up, I'll just bring the traveler up. If I want to head up and I want to get a little closer to, maybe I want to gain a little gauge because I got a boat right down here, then I got another boat right here, and maybe I want to get a little gap off, then maybe I'll sheet that main on and maybe have the jib come on a little bit. Just to kind of, but I'm going to go forward. I might be, so hopefully I've got time and distance to burn. Or not burn, rather to take up. I don't usually do that. Usually when I'm heading up, it's just the main is on, and I'm just heading up. And then when I want to go speed, I want to get closer to the line. It's usually in this direction or down, because I want to get down towards the pin or whatever. Because before the start, we talked about it. I'll tell my crew, all right, I want the pin start. I want a committee boat. I want to be 1/3 up from the line. I want to be 1/3 down from the line. It doesn't really matter. I just need a clear start, maybe probably in the middle of the line. And these are all discussions and things that I do in the pre-start and determining what's going on. I had a situation last weekend where I was the only boat. I'm the only one who wanted to be where I wanted to be. Of course, there was a lot of that. There's a lot of boats in the 18th fleet that just weren't on the line either. Oh, I remember. It was Saturday. And I said, I want the pin. I told Laura, I want the pin. I'm going to lead them out to the left side. And I thought the left side was favored. No, there was nobody on the line. Change of plans. We're starting a committee boat. And we're going to let 1 or 2 boats go below us. But other than that, I'm going to start here. And nobody challenged us. But had they, if this was the committee boat, and I was up here earlier, these guys are all back here, they never got to the line. Actually, they're up, they're up in here. And had they been challenging me like what happens in the 16th fleet more often, then you would have seen me bleed it on down the line. All right, I would have led them down and protect that situation. And so now I'm stalled out. I go jib on. The jib comes on. The bows go down just a little bit. My rudders are straight. I don't have my rudders doing this. They're straight. And now the jib on. And I see the jib. I see the bows. I'm watching the bows. They take down just a little bit. Now I can pull on the rudders a little bit and maybe I sheet on my main, travel my main up, not sheet down, and travel my main up, get a little more speed, and then travel the main back down as I carve it back down, and get away from that line. Get away from that line so I have some more distance that I can work with. And so I keep protecting that situation. And if I'm early on the line, I look behind. Protect that position. And ideally, what you're looking for, hopefully you guys know this, but maybe not, so I'm going to cover it. There's only going to be, this is committee. You've got a 6-boat start, and it's A, B, C, D, E, and F. Let's evaluate this. Let's evaluate this start on a scale of 1 to 10. And we don't know we don't know which side's favor. We don't know any of that crap. Okay. What would you say? How do you think A's doing on that start? 1 to 10. Huh? That's a high risk position, especially in a big fleet, because there's only one guy who's going to come out of that scenario. How about B? How's B looking? Not so good. So I'm going to get A to 10. I'm going to get B probably a 4 maybe. He's got boats on both sides of him. The big sandwich is starting to happen. He's up on the line. Well, mostly because there's a picket fence down here, and so the wind will come down and lift up and over all those sails. So mostly it's that kind of an effect. He might, depending on how the line is set, he might be getting some gas from A. He's not getting any gas from C yet, because he's kind of bowed forward on that. Depending on how the line is set, he might be getting more on A, but he's in the middle of the picket fence. All of them are, but he's a specialist. And this has been pronounced the bigger the fleet is. You won't know about 6 boats. Yeah, I know it's supposed to be big. I got 60 boats. Yeah. I know because it's not pretty. It takes about, I timed it, I think it's about 1.5 minutes for the air to reattach. So you're just sitting there.
I like fun feeling.
And
you go.
C, how's C doing? Huh? Yeah, but he doesn't really have anywhere to go. He can't drive off. Again, I would probably give him another, maybe a little better, maybe not 4 or 5. He's good. They're up on the line. All these guys are up on the line. So that's a good start. This is a 1 right there. But he still has these guys. But if he can work his way up, his strategy off of that start is to maybe build a little distance off of this, get a little bit of distance, and then drive off. So if that were me, I'd be looking to try to separate. I'd be looking to kind of go this way and then drive off. Because remember, you guys, it's a drag race. After the start, it's just a friggin' drag race. Height doesn't mean nearly as so much. You just want to be one of those 5 boats that's out there, or 10 boats, that's out there. How about D? How's D doing?
Good.
He could
drive.
Yeah, nice lured thing. Depending on which way the thing is going. So we'll give him a 9 or a 10 in there, I think. E is right on the same. I like where he's at. He's got something with an 8, maybe 9 or a 10. But yeah, he's got freedom to attack. Right? He'll often go right. So, these are the positions. And so, what I want to point out is you want to clear lane back. You want to be able to drive off, get speed. Height does not mean too much. You do have to hold your lane. In other words, if C doesn't hold his lane, he's going to drop into B's gas, and he's going to get flushed out. So yeah, you do have to hold your lane, but it's all about boat speed. 2 minutes from now, it's going to look like this. He's got clear air. D, he's able to drive off. B and C, they're in a battle. really, I mean, you can, I have, and you do live here, North American start, and then it's just a matter of you just getting the last little bits here. Mark roundings. Plan your exit out of the gate, weather and lure. If you are coming into the weather mark, there's your weather mark up there. Everyone's coming around. If you've got boats close, and this is you got a bunch of boats right behind you, you better figure you're going to have to protect your air, and you're probably looking at coming in. The mantra is enter wide, exit close. But this is an example where that doesn't work. This happens especially. Enter wide and exit close, I use all the time at the leeward mark. And that is, you don't come in like this. All right? You come in like this. Does that make sense? You enter wide, and you are close haul by the time you pass the leeward mark. And if you're not within a few inches of close haul, then you haven't entered wide enough. When I'm coming in, that's why there's a 3 boat length circle. If these guys we're all aiming 2 and 3 boat lengths side downwind of the mark. We're out here. And you don't start, so here's the 3 boat length circle. You don't start your turn as soon as you enter the circle. You don't even really, let's say you're coming down this way. Now, let's use this guy. You don't start your turn here. You don't start your turn here. You might start your turn here, and you definitely start your turn after you've gone past it. And really, it wouldn't be that sharp of a turn, but you'd really like to be a nice, gradual one like that. But depending on the wind speed and everything else, if it's high wind, you might just put this there. But you have to enter wide and exit close. That always works. Like 90%. You'll have a guy coming down on starboard where you have to give room. And then what you do is you enter wide and you exit wide because you have to give him room. But then you have to be really, really careful. You make a really nice, smooth turn. And with a lot of speed, this is fun to do. Because he comes in and he does a slow turn, he does a 180, and you come in right behind him, and you come out, bow out on him. And now, he's getting gas off of you. And because you bow forward. You follow what I'm talking about here? Anybody not following? You all nodded? And there in lane 2, you can't survive in lane 2. You got it, because he's coming in on starboard. But usually you're better off slowing down and taking lane 1. It doesn't make sense, but it's so geared. You're going fast. Like, no, man, just slow down. Go behind. Wait. And then you get lane 1. And this guy's coming in, and he's ahead of you.